comes to mind. I mentioned the economy and aspects of it. I mentioned jihadists and Al-Qaeda. But there's another one I'll mention for a moment, and that's something which doesn't seem to rise to the same level in most people's minds, but it's important, and that's culture. You might think, well, what do you mean by culture? You know, I used to travel in my business and go to different countries, and it always struck me that you might have two countries right next door to each other, and one is thriving, and one is not. And they have similar terrain and climate. Why is one so successful and one not? And I've read some books on this over the years, not very compelling. And then I read one a few years ago by a professor named David Landis. He's at Harvard. I presume he's a liberal by definition, right? And the name of the book is The Wealth and Poverty of Nations. And it's really a thick and difficult book to wade through. And he traces the coming and going of different civilizations and why they came and they went and what made them strong and why they became weak. And then after about 500 pages, he says this: if you can learn anything at all from the history of the economic development of the world, it's this: culture makes all the difference. Culture makes all the difference. And what he means by culture is what people believe. What is it that they value? What motivates them? What makes them get up in the morning? And as I think about America's culture, what is it that's made us the most powerful nation on earth? I believe that it's that we believe in hard work. Americans like to work. We're willing to get up and work in the morning and work hard and to be successful. Americans love opportunity. We came here in large measure as a people, or our ancestors did, seeking opportunity. That's what brought us here. Americans will take risk to build a brighter future. Americans are God-fearing. Not all of us believe in God, but even those that don't believe in God believe in something greater than themselves. It's something about Americans. We're family-oriented. Americans love their kids and their grandkids and want to provide for them and want them to have a better future than they want for themselves. So we invest in the future. Americans are patriotic. We love our country. Remember at the Olympics, how impressed I was with the fact that when kids from other nations got a gold medal and their national anthem was played, they'd be on the podium going, you know, we're number one, which is fine. When kids from our country got a gold medal, almost without exception, they put their hand on their heart as the national anthem was played. And they sung the words to the national anthem. And sometimes they got them right. And it's really remarkable. We're a patriotic people. And I'll tell you, I don't know anyone who's been better tested than John McCain when it comes to his love of country. And that's the kind of leader we need. Now, I fundamentally am confident in the future of the country. I'm sure we'll make mistakes from time to time as voters. But over a long period of time, I think we'll choose the right leadership and make the right decisions. My confidence comes because of the belief I have in the things Americans believe, in our culture, in our values. I see this flag here, and it just reminds me of an experience I had years ago that reminded me of what's unique about America. I was at a Boy Scout Court of Honor, and there's some Boy Scouters here. Boy Scout Court of Honor is where you give out the merit badges to the boys, and where the Eagle Scouts are awarded and the different ranks are given. There was a long Formica table. I was at the head table. At the end of the table is where I was sitting, and the American flag, like this, was right next to me. And the guy speaking was the Scoutmaster from Monument, Colorado. And he was speaking about a flag that his Boy Scout troop bought. They bought a flag, and they wanted to make it special. So they sent it to Washington, D.C., and asked for the people who run the Capitol building to fly it above the U.S. Capitol, which they did. Then it came home, and the boys said, well, we got another idea to make it even more special. And the Scoutmaster said, what is that? He said, well, we'd like to have it go on the space shuttle, up into space. They contacted NASA. Now, as you might imagine, space is at a premium in space. And I'm sure there were some people there who said, you know, no way are we taking souvenirs from Boy Scout troops up in the spacecraft with us. But ultimately, NASA decided to take these boys' flag. And the Scoutmaster said, you can imagine the pride that these boys felt in their home rooms at school, watching the shuttle launch, watching that shuttle take off, telling their classmates that their flag was on that shuttle. And then they saw it explode on the TV screen. And Scoutmaster said he waited a couple of weeks, and then he called NASA and said, have you found any remnant of our flag? And they had not. And he said he called every week from, I guess it was about January 26th when it happened, January through May, he called every week, and then he finally gave up because they just didn't find anything. And then he said he was reading a paper in September, and the paper mentioned some of the debris found associated with the Challenger disaster, and so he contacted NASA, and they said, yes, we have something for you, come on in. So he gathered the boys and their parents, and they traveled to NASA. When they got there, they were presented with a box. And they opened the box, and inside was a watertight container. And they opened the watertight container, and there was their flag in perfect condition. And can you imagine that? And the Scoutmaster said, and that's the flag right there next to Mr. Romney on the pole. And I looked over at that flag, and I pulled it out, and embroidered right along the side of theirs. They had a white embroidery there. Along the side there it said Challenger 10, January 26th, I think, 1986. And the gold tassels all around it. I held onto that flag. It was like electricity came into my arm. Because for me, that flag represents those patriot astronauts who explore the boundaries of space, push themselves into new avenues of learning to enhance our country and our knowledge. It represents the men and women who fought and died for liberty over our history and in Iraq today. It represents all that is great about the American spirit. And it's why I have such great confidence in our future. It is in the heart of our nation to love opportunity and family and country, to love work and education and excellence, to come together in these associations and to fight for things we believe in. It is what makes us the unique country that we are. And it's why fundamentally I believe that the American people, when they give it thought, get a good chance to see both candidates, they're going to say they're going to choose substance over style. They're going to say, you know what, John McCain is the kind of person we need. Tested and proven, experienced with sound judgment, who will win in Iraq, who will get us energy independent, who will rebuild our economy. John McCain is the right man for president of the United States. Let's get that kind of